Bijan, you're on the board?
Yes, I'm on the board of the Parkinson Institute, but I started as being a patient of the Parkinson Institute first, and then become a volunteer working there, helping with the research, and eventually I joined the board of director of the Parkinson Institute. Right now I'm the board member, and volunteer and the patient.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, he has been really amazing with his help. You've been helping raise with fundraisers. You've been working with the fundraisers.
Yes, I'm working with the fundraising group. A couple of times raise funds for the Parkinson's, and I'm planning another fundraising coming in the end of the summer for the Parkinson's Institute, and also working with volunteering work with the research group, and working to help them to develop the new camera system to use for the detecting movement and to recognize the difference between person with the Parkinson's and not person without the Parkinson's, or effect of the drugs when you have symptoms under control or not. It prevents them from somebody sit and watch them all the day. Now they can just use a camera and then later on analyze the data that's collected by camera.
Now, how did you figure out that or realize that you had Parkinson's disease?
That's an interesting story. In 1996, Olympic was in Atlanta, and I was watching opening ceremony. I saw that Muhammad Ali, the boxer, was have the flame and starting the flame, Olympic flame, and his hand was shaking. And he'd get that there, they turn off the flame and stop for a second for shaking, and then go back into the shaking mode. And at that first time I heard that he has a disease called Parkinson's. And that was my first knowledge of Parkinson's. And I asked around why that one. I said, this is a shaking of body, and I noticed that I have similar shaking in my left leg. And I thought I might have a Parkinson's. I went to see my doctor, and doctor said, you're too young, but don't worry about it, you don't have a Parkinson's. And then I go home. Next day she called me back and said, I thought about it, maybe better you see the neurologist. I saw a neurologist, and they eliminated all the other possibilities, and the only thing was left was I have Parkinson's. At that time I went to Parkinson's Institute, and since then I'm a patient there, and diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Well, we had a wonderful tour. I got to come visit at the Parkinson's Institute, which is located at 1170 Morse Avenue in Sunnyvale. And it's quite handy, right to near to 101, so that people can get to it for a visit for the clinic. And Jim Greer took you and I through a nice tour of the whole complex, and we got to see the nice clinic. Now, have your parents and your relatives used the clinic for their visits originally, or just they've gone there for treatments or for therapy?
My sister has, yes. When we first started planning this drive, I said I have to learn everything there is to know about Parkinson's disease. It's what we call in software the deep dive, to try to understand the whole subject first. And I read a book by Dr. Bill Langston called The Case of the Frozen Addicts, and it was an education on Parkinson's disease. Read a few other books too, the Michael J. Fox book and a number of other ones. And I learned about the model that the Parkinson's Institute uses. They combine research and the clinic and also patient care. So what's really fascinating about that is a researcher can just be talking about what they've observed in the lab, and can walk upstairs and look at a file and see if a patient has any of these things that they've observed. And his research can then just be propelled in minutes rather than working with medical journals and that sort of thing. So my sister does go there. After I read all the books, I sent my sister all the books, and I said, Jackie, you've got to come up and go to this place. And she was kind of new with her Parkinson's at the time and not really accepting it, which is what a lot of people do. And we saw it all over the world. And but she did go to the Parkinson's Institute, and now she knows a lot.